Hello everyone, welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. Today it is the birthday of Jayme, my fellow admin in the CAL team. It is her birthday and she has designed this beautiful square for us today. You may or may not recognise the symbol on this square. We have in the centre, we have a semicolon, which is that comma and dot. So we have our semicolon, and we have this on the outside, which is a symbol of Eating Disorder Association. This square is called Megan's Hope. It does have, there are personal reasons for Jayme of designing this particular square and incorporating the two things of the semicolon and the logo. Before I continue with this square, I'm just going to hand over to Jayme, who has recorded a short message for you. I would encourage you please to listen to Jayme's message. Even if you don't feel personally affected by mental illness or eating disorders, I'm sure we've all know someone who has been affected by one or the other or both. Please have a listen to Jayme's message, and even if you don't think it applies to you, she just has a wonderful message for us all to take hold of today. So I'm going to hand over to Jayme for her message, and then I will be back with you to make up this little beauty.
Hello everyone. I just wanted to take a moment, first of all, to thank you all for joining us anytime that you have this year during our 365 days of Granny Square Crochet Cal, and how much it has meant to all of us that you've been here with us and have enjoyed the time and made beautiful squares, shared your projects. We've loved every moment of it. Today, depending on which part of the world you're in, is my birthday. And so October 20th, well, technically it's not October 20th yet, but when you see this, it will be. So I wanted to do something a little special, close to my heart. So it's called Megan's Hope, and there's a reason for the graph this time. The inside is a semicolon. The outside is a symbol for awareness in eating disorders. Now, the world can be an interesting place sometimes. You know, we hear about it in the media, a lot of the darkness that goes around, a lot of the misunderstandings that are happening. And I wanted to take this time to share things that have meant a lot to me that I hope can help you in your path. As you can see, no makeup today. I decided to take a shower because my hair is so short now. It looked like everything was sticking out, like I'd stuck my fingers in a light socket. So I at least wanted to do that for you. But the reason for this is we are all perfect just as we are. The semicolon is a representation of those that are dealing with a mental illness. In a sentence, an author will use a semicolon in place of a period. So instead of stopping a sentence, they will continue on. And if you YouTube semicolon project, you'll be able to learn about the wonderful founder. She's since passed away, but be able to see the amazing things that she's done to help bring awareness to mental illness. So often, especially in the world that we are in today, we hear about children younger and younger stopping their lives, stopping that sentence. And what the semicolon project is to bring awareness so that way people can find that help and love, that understanding, so we can all start being there for each other. The reason that it's called Megan's Hope, sorry for the shakes, I may have to switch arms from time to time, but the reason that it's called Megan's Hope is one of my daughters has gone through depression, anxiety. Unfortunately, she gets it from every end of the family. Yes, it can be hereditary. It can be caused by trauma. There are so many things about it that happen. It can be a chemical imbalance. And so she has so much strength. She has been through so much. And this symbol I found, and it helped her through some dark times. And it helped her to know that she wasn't alone, because she's not. And I think that as we bring awareness and acceptance and love and light out to each other, then all the darkness in the media will start to change. It's still going to be there. And unfortunately, we're imperfect beings and we're going to have the troubles. But as we learn to accept each other for who we are, love each other, have an understanding, even if we don't agree, which is okay. That's what makes this world beautiful. We all have these wonderful different hopes and dreams, and that's how we learn from each other. But understanding and accepting each other for who we are, and taking away the negative stigma in the world, not only on mental illness, but eating disorders, taking away that judgment and that pain, because we don't know each other's lives. We don't know exactly what's happening inside in our minds and our hearts. And sometimes we don't even know that within ourselves. And so I wanted this square to remind everybody that it's okay to be different. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to love. It's okay to cry. Whatever emotion, it's good and it serves a purpose. And as we love each other, even if it's a smile or not scowling at them that day because we're in a bad mood, which is okay too, we bring and start a ripple of change, of positive energy. So a couple little things that I've learned that I hope those that are struggling, not only will this square remind you that you deserve joy in this world, you deserve to be happy, are ways to cope. So first, I took a stress management class in college. And what my instructor talked about is our feelings are like our roommates in our heart and our soul. Our heart and our soul, our mind, they are like an apartment building. Some of those feelings will stay. The love for our children, the love for chocolate. You know, you never know. It might be something that you really enjoy. And then others, like pain, sadness, anger, they stay for a time. And how much time is up to us? And there's no set time of when we have to get rid of it or not. But a little trick on that. Honor it. This is what I tell my children. Honor those hard feelings, the pain, the sadness. Thank it for being there. Because although it hurts, there's a reason. And when it no longer serves a purpose, let it go.
So what a fantastic message from Jayme there. Love it. So please, go over to the Facebook group, show her some love, and wish her some, happy birthday. And happy birthday, Jayme, and have a fantastic day. So we are going to make up this little beauty. We are making this in the tapestry style, as Sammy has done a few tapestry graphs with you in the past. This is my first time of doing a tapestry graph with you. I'll admit I didn't find it quite so simple when I first started, and I thought it looked a bit of a mess. I thought I was doing it all wrong, and I had a bit of a meltdown, and thought I can't do it, and was encouraged to continue, and I am glad I did continue. So all we need to do is follow the graph, which I'm going to pop up on the screen later for you. I'm going to get you started to about here. And then I'm going to pop the graph up for you to continue, and then I'll see you back at the end of the video. So you will need 2 colours for this, or you could choose 3. I guess you could use the semicolon in a different colour if you choose, but just bear in mind this is an actual logo, so we're going to try and do this as close as possible. So grab some yarn, grab a hook, just use my regular 4.5mm, and then you may wish to have some scissors to cut off at the end. So, and the only other thing really is a cup of tea or coffee. So I will see you in a second and we'll get started. Okay, so to start our square, we want to chain 26. I'll meet you back when I have 26. And here are my 26 chains. And then I'm going to do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook and do 13 chains all together. So single crochets, sorry. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and now I'm going to stop on my 12th stitch and bring in my second colour, which is this yellow. So I'm going to start my 13th stitch and then I'm going to stop when I have those 2 loops on my hook, and I'm just going to pick up my second colour, make a loop, not a slip knot, just a loop, and I'm going to pull that through those last 2 loops. So my last stitch was completed with the blue, but I now have my yellow ready for my next stitch. So all I'm going to do is hold the tail back here alongside my work. Okay, I'm just going to hold it there alongside the work, and then that can just be woven in at the end, just as you usually would with your tails. And then I'm going to work with this working yarn. Oops, sorry there, shaking the camera. I am working with a new kind of tripod thing today, so we'll see how it goes. If it's too shaky, I apologise, and I will set it up differently for next time. I'm just hoping that it will be a bit better than my last one, which I used to have to tape the camera and I do all sorts of things to fix it up, which was kind of quite comical really. Okay, so with our second colour, my yellow, I'm going to do 2 single crochets. So I'm going to do the first one as usual. I'm going to carry this blue, sorry. So pick up your first colour and just carry that at the back behind your work. So I'm going to do 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to do the start of the second single crochet and stop when I have those 2 loops on there, drop that yarn down, pick up my blue and come through those 2 loops to finish that stitch. Okay, just as we did before. And now I'm going to carry my yellow. No, I'm not going to carry the yellow because we're going to come back to that next time. We don't need to carry that on this row. So just drop that down and then do the last 10 stitches with your first colour. So that's my blue. So the last 10 stitches with this colour. And I will see you at the end of this row, and you should have 25 single crochets all together. Okay, so you should have 25 single crochets all together, and then if this seems a bit sort of loose, just pull on that tail slightly to tighten that up. Okay, so for row 2 and every row we will be chaining 1 and then turning our work, and then we're going to do 11 single crochets along the row, but do 10 single crochets and then I'll meet you for the 11th. So 10 single crochets and I will see you for the 11th. Okay, so I've done 10 and now for my 11th I'm going to do just what I did before and leave those 2 loops on the hook there, and then this time I'm going to not drop that yarn down there. I'm going to bring it over this way because this is the back of my work, so I'm going to bring it down and hold it fairly tightly with my thumb here. Okay, so hold it fairly tightly with my thumb, and then I'm going to bring this yarn across my yellow, bring it up rather. So I'm going to bring it up and then through those 2 loops. Okay, now I do have a little piece here, you can see this piece here, so I'm going to work with that this time and I'm going to carry my blue. We're going to do 2 single crochets of yellow, so I'm going to go under my blue to carry under the yellow strand and then through into that next stitch, and then I'm going to pull through all of those and complete my stitch, and then just give that blue a little pull just to tighten that off, and then we're going to carry the blue for the next stitch. So ignore this tail here, I'm going to go into the next stitch and pull through, and that's where we're going to leave our second stitch. So again, we want to leave this on this side on the back, so this is the back of our work. So pull that down and then pull this blue across and over to complete that stitch, just like so. So now we're going to leave this yellow here, or your second colour, leave that there ready for next time, and we are going to do 12 more single crochets. So just do 12 single crochets to the end of your row, and once again I will see you once you've done these 12 stitches. Okay, this is the back of my work when I've completed that row, and then if I turn it over, actually we'll do a chain 1 before we turn your work over, and this is what we have at the front. Now I know this may look a bit messy, doesn't look like it's going to make anything very good. Believe me, it will come good. Just have patience until you've done a few more rows. I hadn't done a lot of tapestry crochet before, and I kind of got to about this stage and I thought, oh my gosh, that just looks a mess. It's never going to look right, and panicked a bit, and then realised or was told, keep going and it will all come good. And I think that's quite a good motto in life. Just keep going, have faith in what you're doing, and have faith in what someone has told you to do, and someone is helping you to do. So have faith in the pattern, and have faith in yourself. So some good life lessons today. So we are going to work back along this row, and we are now on row 3. We're on row 3. So no, we're on row 4. Oh my gosh, I can't even count. Okay, so if you think it does look a bit messy, it might be that you're pulling your yarn a little bit too tightly, in which case you can just sort of, like down here, you can just give it a bit of a tweak and try and loosen that up slightly, and it will be fine. Okay, it will be fine. Have faith, don't worry. Okay, so we're going to start row 3 now, and we are going to, we've already chained 1. If you haven't chained 1 and turned your work, chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to do 11 single crochets. Well, do 10 single crochets, and I will join you for your 11th single crochet. Okay, so I've done 10 single crochets, and now I'm going to start my 11th, and stop with the 2 loops on the hook, and then just drop this yarn down because that's the back. So I'm going to drop that down the back of the work, pick up the yellow for my second colour, and now I know it's here, but I'm going to pull it across to where my loops are there. Okay, now it makes this this strand along the back. Camera chooses to focus. There we go, so you can see this piece of yarn across the back. Don't worry about that, we're going to sort that out. We're going to do 2 single crochets in our yellow, and you want to be carrying your blue or your first colour across. So all you're going to do is just go into the next stitch, and that will take you under that piece of yarn and under your carrying yarn, and then you're just going to do your stitch, and that has sorted out that back. Okay, so you're going to do 1 more but not complete it, and then drop that yarn down as that's the back of the work, pick up your blue or your first colour and complete that stitch just like so. Okay, and then you're going to finish the row with 12 single crochets. To do 12 single crochets along here, chain 1, turn your work and do 12 more. So 12, chain 1, turn and do 12 more. Okay, so I've done my 12 one way, and then I've done my 12 back along, and now on my 13th stitch. But if you look here, you can see I left a bit of a loose stitch from my yellow, so I'm just going to pull that tail and bring that down nice and tight, but not too tight. Okay, and then we're going to do the 13th stitch and leave those 2 loops there. Now again, we're working we've got the back facing us this time, so I'm going to bring my working yarn towards me and keep all my working yarn on the back. Okay, so when we're working on the front side, I let them drop down to the back, and when I'm working on the back side, I bring them towards me, so they're always hanging on this back side, so that any changeovers happen on this side and the other side stays as neat as possible. Okay, so just bring that down fairly tightly, but we can tighten it up when we change back. Okay, and then I'm going to bring this yellow up and complete that stitch, and then I'm going to work along and do 2 more stitches in that colour. So again, we have a little piece of yarn here, so I'm going to work under my blue, under that yellow strand and into the stitch, come through all of those and complete my stitch, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 more, again working carrying that blue yarn, and I'm going to stop on those 2 loops for my second stitch. And now I'm going to bring this colour back or towards me, so it's held on this the back side of the work. Bring up my blue and finish that stitch off like so. And then if you, I'm not sure how tight it is along the rest of the work, you can just give it a bit of a pull. Okay, I'm going to leave the yellow there because we need it roughly in that place next time, and then I'm going to work along and do my last 10 stitches of this row. So carry on with that, and I will see you at the end of this row. Okie doke, that's the end of that row. So this is what it looks like on the back, and then turn it over to the front, and this is what we have on the front. And again, you might think it's a bit messy at the moment, but don't panic, because it will all come good. The more stitches you have on your work, the more you work up, the better it looks, believe me. If you're looking at that thinking, no, it looks really bad, believe me, I was there with you a few hours ago. So just keep going, just keep going. So you are going to chain 1 and then turn your work over, and you're going to work along and do 9 single crochets one moment. Okay, so we're going to do 9 single crochets and then change colour. So do 8 single crochets and I'll meet you for the 9th one. Okay, so I've just got my 2 loops on there of my 9th stitch, and then I'm going to bring up my yellow, bring it across to there, pull my blue down a little bit to tighten, and then I am going to do the next stitch, and again I'm going to come through this stitch and under that little piece of yellow there that I've carried across, and I'm going to grab my blue to carry that as well and pull through and do my stitch as usual, and then you can see at the back it's looking pretty clean and decent. Okay, and then I'm going to do one more stitch in this colour. So again I'm going to carry my blue and I'm going to stop on those 2 loops, drop my colour down. That's the back of the work, so drop that colour down, pick up my blue, and now this time we're going to carry the yellow, or your second colour, we're going to carry that across because we need that again in a moment. So finish this stitch with your blue, your first colour, and then you're going to do 3 single crochets in your background colour, working over your second colour just to carry that along. So 1, 2, 3, stop at those 2 loops, just grab some more yarn. Okay, so stop at those 2 loops and bring up your yellow or second colour. Just pull that yarn down a little, and then we are going to work 2 single crochets in our second colour. So work over your blue background colour and do 2 single crochets. So stop on that second one, drop that down, and you can leave that where it is now until next time. Bring your blue through, and then you can finish your last 9 stitches. So finish your last 9 stitches on this row and chain 1. So 9 stitches, chain 1, turn and do 7 single crochets back along the next side. Okay, so I've done 7 back along this next side, and then we're going to do our 8th stitch and include a colour change. Just done that a bit loosely, so try that again. Okay, so remember we're now working on the back, so bring that colour towards you. Well, that's the way I prefer to do it anyway. There's lots of different ways people like to do this, but that's how I like to do it and how I found best. Okay, bring that second colour through, and remember we're carrying that, so we're going to work over it. We're going to do 2 single crochets, work under your blue or your first colour, under that strand, and go into that next stitch. Make sure you've got the right stitch to work into. Pull through, and there we go. You've worked over that piece of yellow and you've worked over your background colour. And then you're going to do 1 more single crochet. You can work over this strand if it's still sticking out a bit. You can work over that as well for this second stitch. Okay, so you're going to stop there with your 2 loops, drop your yarn down towards you, bring your background colour up, complete that stitch, and you're going to do 5 single crochets. Carry your second colour along while you do those 5 stitches. Let's find that first stitch, carry that along, 5 stitches, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to leave this one incomplete like so, and then you're going to bring your second colour up, so drop this one towards you and then bring up your second colour, finish that stitch, and then do 2 single crochets in your second colour. Okay, leave those 2 loops, drop that down towards you and pick up your background colour. Finish that stitch, and then you've got 8 single crochets along to the end of the row. So I am going to pop the graph up on screen, and I will leave you to continue working along that graph in just a moment. Okay, so let's pull that loop up and turn this. I've got this all twisted, so I'm just going to turn it back and untangle those yarns. There we go. So, okay, this is what we have. Now this is the back of the work, so this is why I've got my yarn at the back. You can see it's fairly neat and tidy on the back there, and then if I turn it over to the front, again it's quite neat and tidy on the front there. So there we go, this is the beginning of our pattern. Looking good, guys. Okay, now I am going to work the next row with you, because the next row is where we end up with 3 sections of our second colour. I'm going to start you off with those 3 sections of your background colour, and then I will leave you to continue, but I'm just going to get you started on that because it could be maybe slightly confusing to go from the 2 to the 3. A bit like when we went from having just the 1 to then having the 2 parts. Okay, so I am, okay, where am I? Where's my loop? There it is. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1 and tear my work, and this is row 7 if you're following along with the pattern. So 8 single crochets along, so do 8 single crochets and I'll see you in a second. Okay, on the 8th single crochet you need to leave your 2 loops because we're going to change to our second colour. So bring that colour up as always, hold that first colour down, bring that through, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets in this colour and then change back to our first colour. So just carry that first colour along the back there and do 2 stitches with this. Okay, so that's your second stitch, drop that down, bring your first colour up and through, and then carry that second colour behind, and we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3. And if you carry these colours behind rather than on top, it doesn't show so much through your work, so try and carry it behind rather than on top. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, oops, the third one we should be changing colour again. So there we go, third one we're going to change colour back to our second colour, and we are just going to do 1 single crochet. So we're not even going to do a whole stitch here. We're going to go through, pull up that loop, drop it down, bring up your first colour and pull through, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets, carry that other colour behind, so do 1, second one, just pull up that loop, drop it down, bring up your first or your second colour and pull oops pull through, not pull your loops off your hook. Oh dear, let me try that one again. So this is your second stitch. So what am I doing? So we've got our 1 stitch and then we're going to do 2 stitches. So apologies for this. So second one, keep your loop on, bring your second colour up and do that pull through, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets of this second colour. So go into there, do 1 and then 2, and drop that yarn down to the back, bring up your first, and now we can leave this yellow or second colour at the back until we come back to it on the next row. So we're going to do 7 single crochets along in this background colour to the end of our row, and I'll see you at the end of this row. And here we go at the end of row 7. This is what it looks like from the front. Okay, so for row 8, chain 1 and turn your work, and then you're going to do 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now the 6th single crochet, leave that loop on, bring this yarn towards you because this is the back of the work, and then bring up your second colour and pull through those loops. And once again we're going to work over this piece of yarn just as we have before, as well as carrying our first colour. We're going to do 2 single crochets, so under, under and through, and single crochet, under, under, through and single crochet, but leave it there for your second one. Bring your yarn towards you, pick up your blue or first colour, and you're going to do 3 single crochets. So finish that one, carry your other colour, and then do 3 single crochets. So that next stitch, sometimes these stitches will get quite small if you've only got 1 or 2 of them, so don't get confused as to where that stitch is. So just check there. So 1, 2 and 3. Stop there, bring it towards you, bring your other colour up, pull through, oops, pulling through some of that blue, there we go, and then we're going to do 1 single crochet in our second colour, just 1, so we're going to stop there with those 2 loops, bring that down towards you. We're going to do 3 single crochet with our background colour, working over the yellow or second colour. So what did I say, 3? So 1, 2 and 3, and stop there, bring that down towards you, pick up this other colour, pull through, and do 3 single crochets whilst carrying your background colour up or along. So 1, 2 and 3. Drop that colour down, and you can leave that colour where it is now and finish that stitch, and then work 7 single crochets along. And I'll see you at the end of this row. Okay, so this is where we are at the moment. We have done row 8, and this is how we look on the front. Now if it's a bit sort of slightly distorted, just pull it into shape a little if you need to. Okay, so this is how we're looking so far. Now I'm going to put up a picture in just a moment of the rest of the graph, so that you can continue without me having to tell you every single row. You've seen how to do the colour changes now. Unfortunately my printer is not working, so I can't actually show you a picture of it here to be able to explain to you how to use the chart. So what I'm going to do is I've just done a quick rough drawing of this square. I've done part of it, I've left the rest. I've just done part of it beyond where we are so far. So I'm just going to explain to you how this chart works if you've never used a graph before. So we have worked up to row 8, so we are here. we've done row 8. You can see that there. So your next row will be row 9. I will highlight that when I put the picture on the screen. So your next row will be row 9, but so far we have worked up to this row here, if you can see that line there. And then if you look at that against your work, you should see some similarity. Okay. So what you do is you will see on the chart or the graph, whichever word you prefer to use, that it has numbers on the right and on the left, and this, you've got all the odd numbers down this side and showing you an arrow that you are working this way along on the front of your work, so on this side here that we have. Okay, and then so you'll work along, and as we did in our first row, we worked 25 of our background colour, and then we did 2 of sorry, not 25, that's how many stitches altogether. We did 13 of our background colour, and then we did 2 of our sort of highlight colour, and then we did 10 of our background colour again. And then you can see, moving from here, you go up to this one, it's row 2, and it's pointing you in this direction. So you are going to then work all these background stitches. Each square, each one of these is 1 stitch, okay? And each line is a row. So you work along here doing all these 11 background stitches, and then you did your 2 highlight colour stitches, and then the rest of background. And then you see here we had row 3, and we worked in this direction doing background colour, highlight colour, background colour, and then you get to row 4 and you do it all again all the way along, and then row 5 back along. And this is where you can see that this is where we had to carry our background colour across these 3 stitches here to get to this part here. Okay, so we carried that yarn across to change colour here, and then we got to the end, and then we started row 6 and went along here, did these 2, and we just brought this colour from this particular square here, we just carried it up to this square here. If you can see that line there that I've just done, we carried it from here up to here, and then we did these 2, and then we carried it again along here to do these last 2 stitches, and then we left it there, did the last stitches, worked on the next row, picked that yarn up to do this stitch, and then we carried it along, did this stitch, carried it along again, and did these 2 stitches, and we left it there. And then we did the rest of this row, and then we worked back along with our background colour. We carried this yarn up to this stitch, did these 2, carried it along, did this one, carried it along, and did these 3, and that then we dropped it here, and then we did the rest of our background colour, and that is where we've stopped. We have finished that row. So when you restart with the graph, you will be starting on row 9 and working this way and doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 background and 2 highlight, and then carrying that colour along to these 2, and then along to these 2, and then you'll drop it down. When you come to row 10, this one here, you will do your 2 highlight colours, and then you will carry this yarn all the way over to here, okay, all the way from here to here, and then you'll do these 2 stitches and the end, and then back, do these 2, carry it across, and then you'll start these stitches here. Okay, that is how you're going to work your graph, and just continue working until you get to the very top. And I will see you at the end of the graph. So I'm going to pop that up now. I will pause it. I'll have it on screen for several seconds. You may wish to take a screenshot. If you know how to do a screenshot, you may wish to do that. because you could have it on pause for quite some time. Okay, so just keep that and work from that chart, and I will see you at the end of the square. So have fun, and I'll see you soon. Okay, so I've worked up most of my square now, and I just have my last stitches to finish off on this row 24. So I just come back to chat to you while I do that, and just to say I hope you've enjoyed working up this square, and I do hope you took a few moments to watch and listen to Jayme's message at the beginning. And this square is called Megan's Hope, but as many of you will know, the semicolon symbol in the middle, in the centre, as Jayme said, is it does represent that the story's not over. So whatever situation you could be in today, if something's going wrong, just remember that the day isn't over. I'm going to be honest with you that I really struggled with this square earlier today. I had a good cry about it. I went into our team chat and I said I can't do it, and honestly thought that I wasn't going to be able to finish this square. My first attempt was a bit of a mess, and then Jayme kind of told me that actually it does look a bit of a mess to start with. It doesn't look right until you've finished it. So I kind of took inspiration from that and hope from that, and thought, okay, let's persevere. And she was right. It did come good in the end. All I had done, when I thought I couldn't do it, all I had done was about this much here. And I just looked at that little piece. I don't know if I can cover it up really. Here we go. I looked at just this little piece down here and I thought, what a mess. It just looks wrong. And Jayme and a couple of others were like, no, it'll be fine. And I'm glad I did persevere because I love it now. So yeah, this semicolon in the centre represents that the story isn't over. As Jayme said, it's put in the sentence instead of a period, a full stop. If you're British, it's a full stop, and it just means that the sentence isn't over. So if you're having a bad day, it isn't the end of the story. Just remember there's a semicolon that can be used rather than a full stop. It isn't the end of the story, so just, I hope that gives you some hope today. And it is Jayme's birthday, and Jayme, thank you for this square. Thank you for designing it, and I really hope that through this square and just, a few of our simple words, that if any of you are struggling a bit today, at the moment, that you will just remember that your story is not over. And believe me when I say that there are many of us in the team who are putting these squares together for you. Many of us need these semicolons in our life. Many of us are plodding through each day and trying to make the most of our situations. So take hope today, and don't forget to find a smile amongst whatever might be going on. And even if it might look a bit of a mess to start with, or the back might be not quite as tidy, people don't need to see that. It can all become beautiful and lovely in the end. So this is called Megan's Hope, but I do hope that it's all of you having some hope today. So I hope you've enjoyed making this square up with me and you found it useful and helpful. And if you have, please show us some love and appreciation. Click that like button and give us a thumbs up. And until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.